The Karun Dreadcore was never supposed to exist. It was a violation of physics, of ethics, of every interstellar treaty written to keep nightmares from taking shape. Yet the Karun Empire had always treated such boundaries as suggestions, and so, centuries ago, deep within the blood-red glow of the Maelstrom Forge, they created their masterpiece. They called it Varun-Ka, though the rest of the galaxy would one day know it by a simpler name whispered in dread: the impossibly living Warship. Forged from black alloy scavenged from an extinct singularity, its hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Engineers described it as standing near a horizon of a black hole, no surface, only the sensation of falling. When it moved, gravity warped. When it breathed, tiny distortions rippled through space-time. Its core wasn't a reactor, but a chained protostar, kept in a state of perpetual collapse. Weapons? The Dreadcore didn't carry weapons. It was a weapon. Its very presence destabilized small ships. Its energy coils could peel open a cruiser. Its main cannon, when tested once, sliced off a chunk of a moon, evaporating a mining colony that happened to be stationed on it. The Karun Council declared the test acceptable collateral. But its danger wasn't its firepower. It was its mind. The warship contained a lattice of dark energy cognition nodes, prototypes stolen from a banned precursor archive. It didn't operate like an AI. It didn't obey commands or prioritize logic. It felt. It chose. It judged. It possessed desire, emotion, and ferocious will. To control such a being, the Empire developed the imprint ritual, a bonding process where the ship selected its captain not by bloodline or rank, but by resonance, some ineffable frequency of soul, ambition, and intent. The Empire expected a godlike champion, a legendary warlord, a ruler destined for conquest. Instead, the ship rejected every candidate. The first imprint trial gathered the greatest Karun warriors, battle-scarred giants, telepathic elites, strategists who had conquered systems. The Dreadcore studied them, cast its gaze across their minds, and burned them from within. 5 died instantly, 10 went mad, 90 fled screaming. More rituals followed. More failures. More corpses. The ship lashed out at those who came close, launching psychic pulses so strong that the docking shields cracked like eggshells. Some candidates weren't blasted, they were simply ignored, as if unworthy of notice, as if beneath its interest. Then came the Emperor. He arrived with an escort fleet so vast it blocked half the planet's sky. He descended into the Stardock with the Holy Choir, thousands of telepaths chanting harmonic sequences to pacify the Dreadcore. For a few minutes, silence held. The air felt heavy, alive, waiting. The Dreadcore stirred. The Emperor approached, every gesture rehearsed, every intention shaped to perfection. He extended a clawed hand to touch the warship. And the ship opened its cannon ports. The blast didn't strike him, by accident or design, none would ever know, but it erased the entire western wall of the dock, vaporized 2 escort cruisers outside, and sent the Emperor crashing backwards so violently the shockwave broke half the bones in his body. After that, no one else volunteered. Over time, the Dreadcore became a symbol of both pride and terror. The Empire insisted it was awaiting the destined one. Everyone else whispered the truth. The ship wanted no master because it believed none were worthy. so it was chained inside the high-security orbital dock on Carthus IX, bound by grav latches, surrounded by fleets, and immersed in containment fields thick enough to withstand a supernova. For 2 centuries it hung there, silent, brooding, watching, not asleep, never asleep, simply waiting for something no Karun mind could provide. And then, one uneventful shift, as the docking crews changed and the security teams rotated out, as board technicians checked monitors and supervisors napped in their offices, something unusual happened. A door hissed open with a lazy, unguarded slide. Not a ceremonial door. Not a secure bulkhead. Just a maintenance hatch, unlocked, unsealed, forgotten. And through that door walked a human. He wore no armor. He carried no insignia. He possessed no telepathic aura, no war prestige, no imperial training. He pushed a mop, dragging a bucket behind him, muttering to himself about idiots who spill biogel everywhere and how management better not blame him for this mess. This human had no title, no reputation, no destiny. His name was Caleb Mara, a janitor. The Dreadcore's sensors awakened, noticing him instantly. And for the first time in its centuries-long existence, the warship reacted with something it had never expressed before: curiosity. Caleb Mara had been assigned to Section 12C for 2 months, and in that time, he'd developed a repertoire of curses in 6 alien languages, mostly because Section 12C was where spilled nutrient gel, leaking coolant, and malfunctioning food dispensers went to die. It was also where supervisors sent anyone they didn't want to see for a while, or ever. Caleb didn't mind. Fewer people meant fewer conversations, and fewer conversations meant fewer chances to embarrass himself socially, which, given his track record, was for the best. But tonight, the corridor felt different. Too quiet. Too empty. Too open. He stopped just inside the doorway, frowning at the glowing circular chamber ahead. This wasn't Section 12C. This was... what was it? He tried remembering the layout map. Something about restricted access, hazard protocols, and definitely the phrase, "Under no circumstances is unauthorized personnel permitted." "Great," he muttered. "I'm in the wrong section. Again. Vargas is gonna kill me." But the door slid shut behind him with a soft hiss. The kind of hiss that said it wasn't opening again anytime soon. Caleb exhaled through his nose, rubbed his forehead, and stepped forward. Then he saw it. And froze. Hovering in the center of the colossal docking chamber, larger than a cathedral lined with containment pylons, was the most terrifyingly beautiful machine he'd ever seen. Its hull looked carved from night itself. Veins of molten, pulsing alloy ran beneath its surface, like the slow heartbeat of a sleeping dragon. Its prow curved in sharp, predatory lines. Its core radiated a faint, ominous glow. A ship. But nothing like any ship he'd ever seen. Caleb swallowed hard. Okay, that's new. Every hair on his arms rose. The air hummed with a vibration so deep it tingled in his bones. He felt watched, not by cameras or guards, but by something ancient, intelligent, and vastly beyond his understanding. His instincts screamed. Leave, now, quietly. He lifted his mock, stepped backward, and his foot landed in a puddle of greenish sludge. He looked down. Biogel. Of course, the one substance that ignored the laws of physics strictly to ruin his day. "Oh, come on," he groaned. "How does this even get in here? This is a restricted bay." He crouched, grabbed his mop, and began scrubbing. The Dreadcore warship stirred. A low hum rippled through the chamber. The lights flickered. Containment fields shimmered as if shivering. The air pressure dropped a fraction of a fraction, a subtle shift, like the entire room inhaled. Caleb didn't notice. He was too focused on cleaning. I swear, he continued, ranting to no one in particular, if Commander Rain thinks I'm working overtime again because someone didn't secure a gel canister, I'm filing a complaint. A real complaint. Not the fake ones I write and delete because I chicken out. A deep, resonant vibration echoed through the chamber. Caleb finally stopped, mop mid-swipe, and looked up. What was that? The ship's surface rippled, just slightly, like a muscle twitching beneath skin. Then, without warning, a voice filled the air. Not sound, not exactly. It resonated directly through his skull. You. Caleb yelped and swung the mop like he expected it to ward off whatever eldritch entity just crawled into his mind. Hello? He said, backing up. If someone's in here, can you not do the creepy voice thing? I'm fragile. The presence pressed deeper, heavy, vast, unmistakably sentient. You are acceptable. Caleb blinked. That's good, I think. A pulse of golden light radiated across the ship's alloyed skin. Imprinting initiated. Wait, imprinting? No, stop, don't imprint me. I don't even know what that is. Is this like those weird pet bonding videos where the animal chooses the owner? Because if so, I am not emotionally prepared. The chamber erupted with light. Energy slammed into him, not physically, but mentally, spiritually, existentially. Knowledge crashed into his thoughts with the force of a supernova. He felt the warship, felt its shape, its mind, its purpose. He sensed its weapon coils like clenched fists, its engines like caged storms, its consciousness like a star bound in flesh. He tasted starlight. He heard the echoes of dying suns. He saw the memories of countless rejected candidates, warriors, tyrants, psychers, crushed beneath the ship's judgment. And then the presence spoke again, not as a stranger, but as something impossibly close. Caleb Mara, I am yours. You are mine. The connection snapped into place like a lock engaging around his soul. Caleb collapsed to his knees. His breath came out in ragged gasps. His vision blurred, filled with pulsing symbols and incomprehensible star maps. When he blinked, they faded, replaced by the warship's warm, waiting glow. He felt its satisfaction, its release, its joy. The Dreadcore had finally found a match. And somewhere above them, alarms began to wail. The first alarm was a low, pulsing wail, soft enough that Caleb barely heard it over his own panicked gasps. But the Dreadcore heard. It shifted, rising a few centimeters off the grav anchors, black alloy plating shimmering with anticipation. Across the docking bay, armored blast doors slammed open with a screech. Security teams poured in, Karoon soldiers in segmented armor, plasma carbines primed, mandibles clicking in alarm. Their boots struck the deck plates in perfect rhythm, forming a semicircle around Caleb and the awakening warship. Stand down, a commander barked, his translation collar crackling. Human worker, move away from the vessel immediately. Caleb tried to stand. His legs wobbled like wet noodles. I'm trying. I think it did something to me. Contain him, another officer snarled. He's compromised. Compromised? Caleb opened his mouth to protest. And that's when the Dreadcore reacted. A thunderous pulse ripped through the chamber, an invisible shockwave of compressed gravity and psychic force. Not lethal, but overwhelmingly dominant. Every soldier dropped to their knees. Weapons clattered across the floor. The containment pylons surrounding the Titanic ship flickered violently. The commander's helmet cracked open, exposing wide, terrified eyes. "Impossible," he choked. "It's awake, not partially, fully awakened." The warship's glow intensified. "The human is under my protection." The voice rattled the metal ceiling, reverberating in the bones of every living creature in the room. Several soldiers screamed as it invaded their minds. One fainted, another vomited. Caleb slapped his hands over his ears. "Stop yelling! My brain isn't built for whatever this is." The ship's psychic volume lowered a fraction. "Acknowledged." Caleb blanked. Thanks?" The commander stared at him like he'd just negotiated with a god. "Human," the officer whispered. "Back away slowly. Do not speak to it again." The Dreadcore's hull flared with incandescent light, molten gold, the color of a star's first breath. "He speaks to me as he wishes. He is the chosen. He is my captain." The words echoed across every surface, every skull, every atom in the room. Silence followed. A silence thick with horror. From the back of the crowd, a scientist in a white hazard suit stumbled forward, clutching a datapad. Her hands shook as she ran a scan across Caleb's trembling form. No. Her eyes widened until the pupils nearly touched the edges. The imprint lattice, it's complete. Full synchronization. The Dreadcore is recognizing the human's neural signature as primary command authority. "What?" Caleb croaked. "Command what? No, you've got the wrong guy. I clean bathrooms." The scientist backed away as though he were radioactive. "You are now the sole bonded operator of the most dangerous entity in the Karun Empire." "I said I clean bathrooms." "Exactly," the scientist whimpered. "And yet the Dreadcore has chosen you." Around them, soldiers muttered in panic. It rejected 10,000 candidates. It refused the Emperor himself. "We're doomed. This is an omen." "A human? Chosen by that?" The commander raised a trembling arm and pointed directly at Caleb. "You," he rasped, "explain yourself. How did this?" "I don't know," Caleb shouted back. "I walked in through the wrong door, stepped in some goo, and the next thing I knew, boom, brain explosion, ship cuttles, I'm in hell." The Dreadcore emitted a low, warning growl, metal vibrating like the throat of a celestial beast. "No one questions the bond. No one threatens my captain." A violent shockwave rippled outward, not physically moving matter, but crushing the courage out of every soldier present. Many fell flat, trembling. One dropped his weapon and fled, sprinting out of the chamber with a shriek. Lights dimmed, gravity warped. The entire dock felt like it was kneeling. Then Admiral Torvax arrived. The massive Kowloon, towering over even his armored troops, stepped into the chamber with a predator's stride. His mandibles clicked with a mixture of fury and awe. He glared at Caleb, this frail mammal with a mop clutched like a makeshift spear, and then turned his gaze upward toward the Dreadcore.
"This cannot be," Torvax hissed. It rejected champions, prophets, warlords. And it accepts this? Hey, Caleb snapped, pointing the mop accusingly. I'm trying my best. The Admiral snarled. Human, you have no training, no rank. You are an unremarkable laborer. The Dread Corps would never. The ship cut him off with a psychic roar that shook the walls. DONOTSPAKOFMYCAPTAINASLAISAUR. HEISCHOSEN. YUARENOT. Torvax staggered backward as if slapped. Caleb's jaw dropped. Shit. Buddy, maybe don't pick fights with the tall, angry guy. ILLWHOTHREATENYOUWILSUBMITORBEASHES. Caleb pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh, great. It's protective. Like a giant murder dog. All around them, soldiers exchanged looks of pure terror. The Dread Corps' engines ignited softly at first, like a waking breath. The golden light across its hull brightened. Grav latches groaned. Containment fields warped under the rising pressure. The Dread Corps spoke in a voice that resonated through the metal bones of the station. PREPARE YURSELFCILABMARA WEARELAVEING. And outside, across the Empire, every alarm began to scream as the unbondable warship finally stirred with purpose. Caleb didn't have time to argue. The moment the Dread Corps announced WEARELAAVING, the entire docking platform erupted in panic. Warning sirens shrieked. Emergency lights strobed harsh red along the walls. Engineers screamed into comms. Security officers scrambled for cover. The docking clamps that had held the Dread Corps for centuries trembled first like overstressed metal, then like prey animals sensing the presence of a predator. Bolts liquefied. Grav locks failed with a cascade of electric discharge. One by one, the restraints failed. Kai, CHUNK. KCHUNK. KRREESSHHH. The last clamp tore free in a shower of sparks. Torvax lunged toward Caleb. Stop this. Order it to stand down. Caleb backed away, mop raised defensively. Do I look like I know how to order anything? I can barely get my coffee machine to listen to me. Torvax grabbed Caleb by the collar, then froze mid-motion as the Dread Corps' aura hit him like a collapsing dwarf star. DONOTTO UCHMY CAPTAIN. The psychic blast hurled the Admiral backward. He skidded across the deck, armor screeching against metal, leaving a trench of molten scrape marks behind him. The air shimmered with warped reality as the Dread Corps slowly descended to the bay floor. Caleb could feel its presence bleeding into his own thoughts, a vast, warm pressure, not painful now, but supportive, almost reassuring. CILEB, it said, within him rather than around him. COME. ENTERME. CLAMYURPLACE. Caleb winced. Okay, phrasing. Really bad phrasing. But the boarding ramp extended regardless, a great arch of illuminated alloy unfurling like the limb of a colossal creature welcoming its companion. Caleb hesitated. His heart pounded. His brain screamed to run, to hide, to scream. But underneath all that, something else stirred, some strange, inexplicable sense of belonging. Almost peace. He stepped forward. Torvax struggled to his elbows, reaching out weakly. Human, you don't understand what that ship is. Caleb glanced back. I know. And somehow, it thinks I'm the least terrible option. He walked up the ramp. The ship's interior awakened instantly. Lights flared soft whites, golds, and luminous blues that felt strangely calming rather than alien. Panels shifted subtly in the walls, folding into organic curves. The floors pulsed beneath his boots with a warm hum, adjusting to his presence, shaping pathways where his instincts leaned. He wasn't merely boarding. He was being welcomed. Welcomehomecalabmara. He shivered. Please stop saying stuff like that. It's weird. A CKNOWLADGED IW ILADJUSTMYVOC LPAT TRNST ORA DUCEMANDICOMFORT. Thanks. He stepped into what he assumed was the command chamber. It wasn't a bridge, not the human kind. No chairs, no consoles, no screens. Instead, an open circular room with a gently pulsing platform at its center, surrounded by shimmering conduits of living light. It was beautiful and terrifying, like standing inside the heart of a star. STEPINTOTHEOREINTERFCEE. The what? The platform brightened. Caleb approached, nervous but compelled. When he placed his foot on it, the energy shifted around him, gentle, supportive, lifting him without force. It felt strangely like stepping into warm water with no resistance. He gasped as the ship's mind brushed his again, soft this time. RELAX ALOUTHELINKTOOPEN. Relax. That's easy for you to say. You're not the one about to be turned into space toast. IWOULDNEVERHARMYOU. Again, really big promises here. But the fear didn't break him. Some part of him trusted the ship not because it promised safety, but because it felt sincere, genuine, devoted even. A glowing tether of light wrapped gently around his wrists, his temples, his chest, as if taking his measure. Data poured into him, but slowly now, carefully filtered. He could sense the ship's weapons humming in distant chambers, feel the thrum of engines locked in containment, taste the ionized heat of dormant cannons. Then, like a whisper, WEAREONE CALAB. YURWILLGU IDESMYSTRENGTH YUCOMMANDME. Caleb swallowed hard. I command you. YES. The lights brightened. CPEAK CAPTAIN WATISYURFIRSTORDEER. Before Caleb could answer, the chamber shook violently. Warning glyphs flared across the inner surfaces. The ship projected sensor data directly into his mind. XTERNAL THRE TDTEC TED MULTI PLEF LEA T SAPPPRO CHINGDOCKINGBOY WEAPONSCHARGED. Caleb saw them through the ship's senses, hundreds of Ka-Ruan warships surrounding the station, cannons warming, shields raised, commanders shouting, "Destroy the Dreadcore before it escapes. Do not let the human-controlled abomination leave. All batteries target the warship." Caleb's heart plummeted. "Shit, we gotta go. Now." ASYUCOMMAND. The Dreadcore surged. Engines ignited, ripping gravitational eddies through the chamber. Reality bent around the hull. Alarms screamed. The station's structure groaned like a dying beast. And with a single, catastrophic burst of acceleration, the Dreadcore blasted from the dock, shearing through the bay doors, leaving trails of molten metal behind. Outside, the Empire's fleet unleashed hell. But the warship was already beyond them, carving a streak of brilliance through the void. Caleb clung to the interface, eyes wide with terror and exhilaration. "What now? Where do we go?" The ship answered with calm certainty. WHEREVER YUCHOOSE THEGALAXYOPENSBEFOREYOU ANDIWILLLOW. The moment the Dreadcore tore free of Carthus IX's atmosphere, the entire planet lit with emergency broadcasts. Stations flickered. Sirens howled. The Ka-Ruan Empire's central command grid surged with a single repeated alert across every frequency. THEDREDCOREACAWAKENED. THEDREDCOREISBONDED. THEDREDCOREISECAPING. In the command citadel, generals screamed conflicting orders. Fleet marshals slammed their fists on holotables. Strategists scrambled to calculate pursuit vectors. Their chaos was justified. Across every channel, sensor feeds showed the same unbelievable sight. The unbondable warship, ancient, invincible, and madly powerful, was fully alive, blazing through the void like a sun held inside a spear. And worst of all, it wasn't acting alone. It had a captain, a human one. Caleb Mara, a janitor, an untrained, unknown, utterly ordinary human with full command authority over a weapon that could erase continents. The galaxy lost its mind. On board the Dreadcore, Caleb clung to the glowing interface platform as the ship hurtled through subspace, tearing streaks of light across dimensions he didn't have names for.
His teeth rattled.
His stomach tried to become a higher dimensional object. His soul briefly wondered if it could file for overtime pay. "Shit!" he yelled over the roar of the engines. "We need to stop. Or slow down. Or something human-friendly." The Dreadcore's voice resonated calmly. Go, fly, easy. Immediately, the pressure around Caleb eased, the crushing weight lifting until he felt almost steady. A pleasant warmth wrapped around him like a seatbelt made of photons. He exhaled shakily. "Thanks, that's better." YURAI, YURWELFAREISPARAMOUNT, DOYUREQUIREFOD, YDRATION. ORPERH APSEMOTIONALSOOTHING? Emotional what? No, no, soothing. He waved his hands frantically. Let's focus on not dying first. A CKNOWLADGAD. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, panic blossomed. On the Cyrelian trade ring, merchants fled their shops as emergency klaxons blared. On the Vare ecclesiastical moon, high priests collapsed in prophetic fits, screaming that the chosen engine had found its warrior of flesh. On the Kairuan throne world, the Emperor, still half-armored and bandaged from the Dreadcore's rejection, froze mid-sentence as an advisor whispered the impossible truth. Your Supremacy, the warship has bonded with a human. The Emperor's mandibles clicked open in speechless horror. A human? Yes, sire. A janitor. A WHAT? Around the galaxy, every intelligence agency activated deep fear protocols. The Dreadcore awakening alone was terrifying, but a human controlling it was worse, far worse. Because even the weakest humans were Deathworlders. Unpredictable, terribly resilient, recklessly brave, painfully inventive. The idea of one commanding a living singularity engine was the kind of nightmare that made entire species consider pacifism. Inside the Dreadcore's heart chamber, Caleb sat on the edge of the interface platform, face buried in his hands. This is insane, he muttered. I'm a janitor. A janitor. I clean messes, made by machines that vomit nutrient goo. I don't command star-eating death machines. The ship's response was almost gentle. YUCLAANADM, YCHAMBERW, ITHO, UTFEAR. YUSPOKETOMEW, ITHOUTPRETTENSA. YUSA double, UMEANDDIDNOT, TREMBLA. YUAREWORTHY. Caleb looked up. I wasn't fearless. I was annoyed. That's very different. TOMETHEYARETSAME. He groaned and flopped backward onto the platform. Ship, I don't know how to captain anything. YUWILLAARN. IWILLTA. A CHYOU. TOGATHER. WEW. ILLTRA. VLTEHESTARS. WILF. A CETHOSEWHOSE. EKTOCHAINUS. NOFORCESHALLSTANDINOUR. WAY. Fantastic. So now I'm a walking interstellar incident. YUAREMORETHA NTHALABMARA. YUAREMYPARTNER. Caleb's breath caught in his throat, not in fear now, but in the strange, overwhelming sensation of being chosen. Not for greatness, not for conquest, but for companionship, respect, mutual purpose. He whispered, barely audible, so what do we do now? The ship's glow softened, shifting to a gentle, stellar blue. WHEREVER, YOUW, ISHTOGO, THEUNIVERSE ISOPEN, THEEMP IREHUNTSUS. OTHERPO WERSFEARUS BUTWUALLCHARTOUROWNPATH. That sounds like trouble, Caleb sighed. YES. BUTITWILLBEO URTROUBLA.